Hey everyone, this is Donna Savage with Talk with Savage Desires, and I have the most famous person I know personally, Mr.
Hmm.
Sephton Spence. Welcome, Sephton.
Hey, how are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.
Not a problem, Donna. Not a problem. Good to see you.
I know we haven't seen each other since COVID, but it's okay. We'll
Oh,
catch up.
there we go. There we go.
So before I start asking and going into Sefton personal life, this episode is about starting from a humble beginning to be one of the top contractor in North America. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode is I've been hanging around many boys, women, men, and they're so down and where they are in their journey, and they have no hope. And I know we talked about that we're going to only do 30 minutes each section. And so tonight is about your start, where you started, this young Jamaican man who all of a sudden is the leading contractor in North America, who has school in St. Lucia built in for school for women. Like your accolades could roll off of my tongue because I've been digging up in your past and your
Mhm.
future. So I know
Oh,
everything
there we
about you
go.
and your future. I predict your future. So your life alone excites me so much to the point that I want to know Sefton Spence more. And for those who are watching, to talk about your humble beginning and where you're coming from and this beautiful journey that you call life and where you're going and what you have achieved up to this point. But you know what? I'm thinking this section is going to be from your humble beginning. Sefton, talk to me. Are you born Jamaican Canadian? Talk to me.
No, no. I'm born Jamaican,
Of course.
full bred yadi.
Yeah, yeah, boy. I
Full
love
bred yard
it.
boy. Coconut trash. You know, polish the floor. Kneecaps them red. You know,
Oh yeah, with
then
a
the thing
brush.
because we never had the polisher.
Oh
You
no,
know,
sit up on your knee.
Nip on your knee. All
Oh
right,
my
let me
god.
go get water before we bathe in the morning and
Oh, the cold water.
put out the
The
goat and
cold.
everything else. You understand?
Wow, I
Yeah,
do
man.
understand. I do understand. So, Sefton, tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Childhood.
Hmm.
The third of six. Um, Mother, father. My father left Jamaica, and I think it was 72. 72.
Hmm.
Because I was really young at that point. We came to Canada in 73 April, I believe it was. And the Trudeau government told my mother to go home when my mother came to visit her husband in Canada. When he was taken from Jamaica because of he was working in Guantanamo Bay
Hmm.
as an engineer, and Bell Canada came and they took him as an engineer to come to Canada.
Hmm.
Well, and so on and so on and so on. So that's how my mother came, and then they told us to go and get your children. Now, it's interesting when you are the third of the six, and you're growing up in Jamaica. You're left with your grandmother. Really don't know you guys because she lived on the other side, and we lived on the other side of Jamaica. She was up
Wow.
in Lucy, and we were in Willardine out in St. Catharines, right? So
Hmm.
just outside Spanish Town. So
Hmm.
it was weird staying with a person that
You
you
don't know.
really don't know for about 6 months, a couple
Wow.
months. And then my mother came back, she got us, and we came up and came off the plane. And I met my uncle for the first time, Ransford Smith. He just passed away about a month ago. So, bless his heart. Bless his
Hmm.
heart for his efforts and everything that got me here in this country. And from there, we walked outside and there was snow on the ground.
I know that. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's not red dirt.
We lived in actually Seven Burner Trail, right
Oh, you're
beside
on
Hillary.
Burner
Hey,
Trail.
the first little subdivision that they had put in, and
Yes.
there was nothing past Markham Road. So wherever you're coming from, you
That's
can't get
it.
the Burner Trail. You must have a car to get the Burner Trail.
Wow.
So weeks later, we got on a bus to come home, and we got off the wrong bus. We got off at the wrong stop, and then we were lost. You have about one, two, three, three, four black picnic
Oh,
in
wow.
the snow. And
Wow. Oh my
my
goodness.
mother's waiting for the bus stop to see where her kids are and can't find us. We got off at the stop before. She thought it was our stop, and we
Mm-hmm.
so the excitement continues. We lived in my uncle's home. He had one, two, three kids at that period of time. I think it was just a three-bedroom. I think on Bernard Trail, I think it was a three-bedroom. If
Mm-hmm.
that, no, maybe a four-bedroom. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was a four-bedroom. My mother and father stayed upstairs. Yeah, and then you had six kids in the basement on bunk beds. Oh, only Jesus keep you. Can keep you. Hey, I look back and I think of my aunt, my uncle, what they put up with. We're used to running around without grounds,
Yeah, you're outside
barrier,
doing your thing. Yes.
outside, flying kite, playing
Mm-hmm.
marbles, running up and down the place after school. Now you're confined to a house in the winter. So I can imagine six kids tearing this place apart.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine, I respect Auntie Faye and Uncle Randy so much and their poor kids.
Oh.
But you know what? That's how we began. That we went from there. We moved to another house in Greenwood, on Greenwood, by Coxwell and Greenwood area,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ontario. We were again in the basement. And because the house that we got was my mother's friend gave us house, but to be able to pay the rent, she rented out the upper level. So again, the picnic
Mm-hmm.
was in the basement.
You're
Cool
nice.
as cold as ice. My mother, we kept having getting colds. So my mother took us to the doctor, and the doctor said, "How come the kids always have cold?" Well, it was very cold country, right? So next thing you know, what happened? They said, "Okay, we can help you." Government said Chesterly is building. Wow, Chesterly is building, and so we went from there to Chesterly, 260 Chesterly, unit number 12. The second black family moved into that section. The Walters were living at number 6. You see, I remember all the names of every single
Yes.
person along the way, right? My teachers, everybody. I don't know how. But so maybe when I get older, all that'll
You're
disappear.
going to continue because you have one of those brains. Stop it.
So anyhow, so we went from there and we went to Chesterly. And in no time, my mother got a job. Things happened with our family. It got a little bit tougher. A lot of the community was growing. I went to public school there, and I went to JB Terrell for grade 7 because McMillan wasn't fully built. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then afterwards, I moved to Meadowvale and Shepherd. I think I was about 14 years old at that point. I moved to Meadowvale and Shepherd. Now, the thing about Meadowvale and Shepherd, the bus only stops at Morningside and only runs to down by Meadowvale only until 6 o'clock in the
So
evening.
what happened after you have to walk? That's a
Girl,
long
no,
in the
no.
cold.
Listen. You don't walk, you run. This is what made you become an athlete.
Oh, so that
This
started your athlete. All right
the
then.
tip. Yeah. But it was hard. It was hard growing up because my father wasn't very much interested in me because I'm the darker one of the family, and it was very rough inside the home, very rough inside the home. So by the time I was 15, the big struggles, I was getting taller, and he's only 5'2". Um, yeah. My father's Portuguese, so my actual last name wouldn't be Spence; it would be Fernandez. That's another story in the Jamaican culture.
Of course. So
You, you
hold on
know
then.
them. You know them is.
So,
So
so okay. So your father's 5'2". You guys couldn't get along because you're darker skin. So you're the darkest one out of all his children.
college children, yeah.
So and he does. Did he tell you that's the reason why he does? It's just how he treated you.
You didn't have to tell the reason. He told the other kids that I was not their brother and sister.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah. And so we never really played together. We never hung together. We never did much. I was Cinderella. I was really good at it too. So that's why I'm able to take care of a home as well as I do, right? And raise my own four children the way I have. So the thing is that I had to run. I had to run literally for my life at the age of 15. I I last day I remember being in the house is when the hammer came and broke over my eye. Um, and he said that was it. That was it. I started learning renovations from a wonderful young man already. He was in church. His name was Randolph Townsend. I mean, this man started me on a path that because he cared and he took me. He never had any he never had any sons though. That's probably why. That's what my head tells me.
That's
So he didn't have any sons. So and he was my Sunday school teacher too. So
whatever reason, but he took you.
he
I'm
took
going to
me.
backpedal for 2 seconds. So
Yeah,
when your dad hit you with the hammer on your head, where's mom?
work.
Okay. All right, Mr.
Everything happens when she's at work,
Yeah, big.
and you can't say a word because if you say a word, then you know what happens. Yeah, it there. That's the mild part of the trip.
I can
Um,
only imagine.
yeah. Uh,
I can
um,
only imagine.
Yeah, by that time I was taking care of a child, not mine.
Hmm.
Let's clarify. It wasn't mine. My sister, she had an altercation, or she was some older boys had gotten to her, and she had a child. So in the evenings, I was watching a child from the age of 12, right, and taking care of a child until my mother would come in about 1 o'clock. She'd come from work.
In the morning or
She
in the
would come at
day?
No, my mom worked evenings. So she went to work at
Mm-hmm.
4 to 11. So she would come in about 12 after 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way her shift was, right? She didn't work too far. And then she would come in. And from that time, then she would take the child from my care because no matter what, even up to now, the child's 40 something years old and still smell like me.
Him not leave you. So
She,
where was his mom?
huh?
Where was mom?
Mom
His
left.
mother. Oh, she left him.
Her, her,
Yeah,
her, my niece.
your niece. So mom
Yeah,
left. Or some. That's what I meant. What happened
yeah,
to his
she
mom?
left.
So she left.
It's trauma, the
Oh
things
God.
that you go.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing about it is that a lot of stuff happens within our Black culture where we don't know, we don't hear because we're not told how things happen, who's sick, who has what.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if information is not passed down the line as frequently
As
or
it should.
as it should.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, you're growing up. Recently, I found out that my father had this. Okay, I call him my father still. Do I know? No. But you know what? It doesn't matter at this stage, right? Still call him for who he is or what he is.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that the list just goes on. He's 86 years old now, right?
How's
Um,
that relationship?
um, through God, it has. I take care of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It, the thing is that you still have to deal with, and you had to went through um, quite a bit later in my life because
Mm-hmm.
when you're young, you're still trying to find yourself. Just
Mm-hmm.
you want to do. But the time I left home, I was on the streets for a couple of days and would go to school, bathe,
What you
do
said
my.
on the street, like literally on the street, or you were at friends' houses?
No, I never had. Listen, I was too ashamed at that point. Shame rocked my understanding and my being. So I did not go to my friend's house. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that now that some of my friends know or knew about it, like Mike Cummins, one of my buddy, he's he would like to beat the crap out of me now
For not saying
because,
anything.
dude, my mother would have taken you in. Everybody's like,
Mm-hmm.
but you see, the thing is, it took me this long to be able to share,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, time and healing and dealing
Mm-hmm.
with different things and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the biggest part, without even knowing, was that my mother didn't come looking for me. Nobody came looking for me. I think my brothers and sisters, no.
Nobody.
Mm-mm. So underlying issues is that even though you could be as successful as you are, you still have to deal with everything that you've been handed. Now, the beauty about it is to be successful, to be to be motivated, to want to always striving and moving forward. You've got to take on these things head on,
Yes, you have to.
one by one, because every time you take care of an issue, you take care of a situation, you take care of something that is painful, that then your soul is healed, your mind is healed, your body's healed, and then everything around you. Now, another area that you're healed, you grow.
Exactly. You're getting
And then
stronger and stronger,
you get
right?
stronger. And so all of a sudden, now you're propelled into another realm. Now you're doing something else. And then every time I was healing, taking turns, taking opportunities to heal myself, I found out that I started moving up the ladder, moving up the chain. And that's, those were the early days. After that, I broke into an apartment. Yes,
Look at my
yes,
boy,
yes,
Sephton.
yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big time crook. Big time crook. No, no, my sister had an apartment downtown at Rotson. No, Jameson and King,
Okay.
70 Jameson, blue
Okay.
building. And what happened? I broke into it. I mean, I recognized if I pushed something hard enough where the lock was, eventually it would have opened. So I
That's
did that.
Mr. Randall teach you that, don't it?
No, 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 no. Pops didn't teach me that. He didn't teach me, but you know what? In there, I was able to. I had a bed on the ground, a mattress
Mhm.
on the ground. I had a milk carts, that a little TV box that on probably as big as my computer screen. I had a whole bunch of friends in there, cockroaches, which I had to get rid of. Because she had moved on, and she didn't pay the rent. But because I was working all this time, I had saved up money.
Mhm.
So I told the landlord that, hey, my sister said for me to give you this rent, right? And it wasn't much. I mean, it was big money then, but it wasn't much money now, right?
Mhm.
I paid it. And he says, okay. And remember, I still don't have a key. So every day I would just pull up the door and leave. So, and every day I would take the subway 3.5 hours. So I would take the 502 Roxonville, that would take me to Dundas West Station up to Warden, I think it was that time. From Warden, I would then go on the 86 bus all the way back to Meadowvale and Shepherd, because the school
To school.
bus came at 8:15. No, I didn't reach school yet, because and then what I would do, my dad would be gone to work at that point. So I would run in the house, thief food, clothes, everything that I could take of what was mine, every on a daily basis, and then be off. Because in the evenings, if I was come back in the evenings, he would be there, so I would never go to the house. I would then go back home, run down all my friends. So I would meet everybody at the bus stop, and they think that I still live up the
Everything was
street,
fine.
and I never lived up the street.
So how long did you stay at your sister's? How long were you able to
No,
afford?
she never came back.
I know, but how long did you stay there to afford paying the apartment? Because you were staying there and you were paying rent
I was paying rent
at
for
14 years old.
15. I was 15 then.
15. Okay.
15 then. Um, I paid rent until I think my final year. I stayed there. I worked for a company named Anchor Capin. Um, I would work there on weekends, and I would work there during the summer. Now they
Mhm.
were unionized,
Mhm.
and at that stage, so they made cork tops for like um, Crown Royal. Of course, I
Mhm.
remember that one.
Of course you would.
Don't drink it, but I remember that one, right? I'm a Ray nephew guy, but Eldorado guy, but no. And you know, through the grace of God, I was a saver. I didn't have a choice. So,
Mhm.
so what I used to do when I used to get reach home, McDonald's used to close at about 10:30, 11,
Mhm.
and I used to then leave and go down to the McDonald's after when I take the bus back, do the streetcar, do all my homework on the
Mhm.
streetcar and the subway and sleep and whatever, whatever. Get home, get up, shower. By the time I get over to McDonald's, it's about 10:30, 11. I'd wait for them. At that time, they used to throw everything out
I
into the
remember.
garbage bin
I
as
remember.
in a lump sum.
Mhm.
Okay, there's dinner
Wow, Sephton.
out of the garbage can. Yeah, did that for quite a bit. Yeah,
Out
yeah, to save. Yeah,
and
and
look at you now, eh?
hey, I guess I could still eat out of a garbage can. Yeah, I know how to get into them a little easier now. Yeah. So yeah. So that
Wow,
was.
Sephton.
But then after a while, I think the manager noticed,
The
and
McDonald's manager?
mhm,
Mhm.
she was a white lady. She noticed, and she stopped and she started putting out a tray with drinks and and food in a bag.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, yeah.
You have some amazing people out there. These are the kind of stories that you don't hear about. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah. So that happened for a while, and then um, I was able then to slowly start making a little bit more, making a little bit more, because the rent at that point, living down there,
Mhm.
was not a lot of money. Was not a lot of money, but I was working good money, and I saved, I saved, and then I worked with a guy that went to the church. His name was Carlos Pontushka.
Mhm.
Oh, what a sometimes you meet people and you don't know how they're going to influence your life. Now going to influence your life, but the paycheck I was bringing home from this man, that means I had a bank account. I had a
Wow.
bank account back then,
Mhm.
and money was going in my bank account. I was rocking and rolling. He worked for Alcan, right? And we traveled. We were away for like a whole week at a time, doing stuff out of town. But hey, nobody knew.
Up to this point, still nobody came looking for you, Sefton.
No, at that point, no. By that
So you're
time,
about what? About 60
no,
now?
no. My mother, I saw my mother at church because I was a church boy, and I
Mhm.
never stop.
Mhm.
I'm embedded. It's inside of me. I love worship. I love to pray. I love to sing. So it just was a part of me, and all my friends were church because youth group.
Mhm.
Have a youth group, and then there's me and Sam Lindo. Hey Sam, how you doing, my brother? And and we were just like this. And he went to Woburn, and I could stay by him sometimes, right? And then all the young women them in at church, and we used to save up our pennies, and we used to go out for lunch after the morning service, before the evening service, or before the youth choir began to
Did it, so
was
you
rehearsing.
so Sefton, you're one of those who go to church all day? From
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I don't go to church all day now,
No, I'm
but
talking then. Then.
it wasn't all day, but because that was the only time for the youth to practice in the choir.
Mm.
And remember that time, my social was that's them. I
Mhm.
mean, I had school, but outside
Was
where
it
I had my
fun?
friends, that was my social. So
Mhm.
I had to, you know, be I had to for me, I had to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out. So think about this: you have 15 people walking the Harveys, young black kids, and then everybody pulls out all the change that they have, and they count it all out, and they say what we could buy. So we could buy this many burgers, this much French fries, and this much drinks. Should we
Mm-hmm.
get some extra cups? And if we splurge, we went to Swiss Chalet or something. Woo!
Oh,
You
big
know,
spenders.
oh, big spenders, big spenders. Yeah, so it was like that. So the coat you wore came up to your wrist up here. This part, cool as ice, you know? That's cool as ice. And we pretend we were cool back then. We wore running shoes. We didn't wear no boots.
Of course not. That
Oh,
wasn't cool.
that wasn't cool. And
Oh
these
my
kids these days
God.
don't know what snow was. Listen,
No, that's what I tell my
listen.
kids all the
They
time.
don't know what snow is. When
That's
I
what I
grew
tell
up,
all the time.
man, 3 foot of snow was that's a regular thing.
There was
Three
nothing.
foot,
Oops,
3 foot of
that's
snow
nothing.
was a regular thing. You know.
So, Sefton, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to your journey, and I knew I said we're from humble beginnings, but this is humble beginnings. 'Cause you know how
Oh,
Jamaican, in order for people to understand, we have to say twice, humble
humble.
beginnings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm here and I'm sitting and I'm listening to you, and for you to do this whole thing of forgiveness, you know, for people that's supposed to be protecting you at such a tender age, and here you are manning up, being an adulting at 14 years old, you know, and
Ah,
so. Did you take counselor at that time, or this is through the whole church thing? Did you do any consultation, some coaching, some therapy, or you just
no,
did it?
no. It was just called survival.
So when I said coaching, but in terms of forgiveness, and I
Um,
know because you're a church person, I know it talks about forgiveness. So you have to be at a place of forgiveness,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to
You know what? It didn't come right away. You still had the underlying things. Think about it. When I was in grade 12, no, no, when I was in grade 8, I made a baseball bat. And I want everybody to listen to me very carefully when I say this. And they must understand the mindset I was in. They must understand the pain I was in. They must understand the beatings I was getting. I wanted to finish my father. I made a baseball bat to finish my father. Do you understand? Right? So just understand the things I was going through, and I made it to end him while he was sleeping. I didn't do it by the grace of God, and luckily, hey, blessed that I didn't. You know, right now he has dementia and he suffers dearly from what he says I do to him or going to do to him right now. Sometimes, oh, Sephton came and blah blah blah. I haven't been there. I didn't go. I didn't. But
conscience.
what his
Yes,
conscience is killing him. But
it's killing him.
it's
Yes.
killing him. He has to live with that now, because you still take care, help with their finances. You still help with, you go, you cut this here, you do this,
Hmm.
whatever is a need. And the thing is that the longer I could bear a grudge on somebody, I'm holding myself down. I learned that from a young age. And that's why I I might be upset or I might be hurt. But after a while, I have to learn to get rid of it. So if I don't get rid of it, what it does, then it eats me apart.
Yes.
Who knows what I was going to be or who I was going to become? I didn't have a clue because I was told I was nothing. And I was told I was going to be nothing. I was going to come out as a whatless sitting. And everybody that is cultural understand what that word means. Whatless sitting, you see?
Yes.
Whatless, you cannot read
Whatless.
and you
Yes.
cannot write. And especially because you're left-handed, then they bust you upon your left hand. They'll teach you how to write with your
With your
right
right
hand.
hand.
But
Yes.
again, here I am. I'm still left-handed.
But it's not going anywhere. But you
It's
know what? Thank God you didn't believe them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? The day I left, the sigh of relief, because I could be out there struggling, but I'm not getting beaten,
You had to make a choice.
right? I was not getting beaten by a person, right? And watch others watch. You know what I mean? It is something that hmm, they
S-
have to give an account for. That's all I
Listen,
have to put.
so
Yeah.
were you the only child being beaten in the house?
Um, Pretty much, yeah. My sister got her fair share,
But you're not
but
getting a hammer though. She didn't get a
she,
hammer to
no, she got a fair share, but she got pregnant, so that was that you tell that to some Jamaican parent who really to pick the gun outside and get lick up, and then come in at the house
How
and
dare
blah
you?
blah blah. How dare you?
Yeah, because
Shame me, I bring to
it's
my
about
door.
them. Yeah, exactly, it's
Shame me, I
about them.
bring family
No,
now, blah.
exactly,
He,
exactly.
everybody I go no. Oh, shame me,
Everybody,
I bring.
yeah, yeah. Those are.
So
It's so it's so funny. Like we're all Jamaican, and we get the same stories. No matter from where, it's the same story.
you
It's about
know,
me.
but you see, the thing is that what we have to learn from this stuff. Yes, it is painful. Yes, the task went on, but the thing is that 87% of black youths that are abusers become abusers.
It's
The
true.
key is to break the cycle. The key is to break the cycle. Break the cycle.
Cycle, yeah. Build a new cycle. I love that.
Anybody that grows up within Toronto housing, it takes 3 generations for them all to move to be out of Toronto housing. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
just understand what living in the projects, or they would call projects, or depends on where you live.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a, your mother and father going there. So you grew up in there, and then you stay in there, or your
The kid.
siblings stay in there. And
Mm-hmm.
it takes 30 years, almost 3 generations before the cycle can be broken for you to
Mm-hmm.
come out and everybody live in a more upscale or
Mm-hmm.
better neighborhood than the projects.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that for us to break the cycle, and that's something that I had intended um, from young. I intended that that was going to be it.
Wow, I really love that because it's true. I agree with you. New cycles has to start.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that it doesn't take 3 generations for that to happen. But you're right, I did the research myself. But we're
Hmm.
hoping going forward with these kind of conversations that we're having daily, and you being in the community doing these beautiful things that you've been doing with your new contractor and project for young youth that's happening here in Toronto, because you know what, Black youth does definitely need someone that they can look up to and listen to. Sephton, we're gonna stop. I could listen to you all night, but we don't want more nobody. So we're gonna stop tonight. And so
Okay.
tonight is basically where you're coming from, and this part two is gonna be where you are and where you intend to be, because you have such an amazing story. And your story, these young people need to hear the story. If I did it at the age of being kicked out of the house at the age of 14 and survived and said, this is not a place that I want to be. I know where I'm going to go. And in order for me to go there, I need changes. And we have to acknowledge the things that's happening. And we can't pretend it's not happening. If it hurts, it hurts. Don't pretend, no,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I
There-
think
it-
we
that's
have to just
growth
have
right
that.
there. That's
Yes.
growth. That's
Yeah.
growth.
If it hurts, say it. And
Yeah.
for
One
you,
more thing I want
go
to say before we close off.
ahead. Hmm.
The the thing is to recognize where you are at. These young people think that, oh, I have it hard and stuff like that. You're still in a home. You still have roof over your head. You're still eating food. And when I speak in to them, and when I come into Tropicana Community Services, to whichever group that is that calls me in to speak towards to young people, young up and coming, and they say, "Oh, this is your struggle. This is your this," and I said, "Okay, you have 15 or 20 more things that I never had,
Mhm.
right? You're able to take a bath at your home still. You have to box out your underwear and make it dry. Hopefully, dry by morning.
You're such a
Hold
nerd.
on. Hold on. Let me turn on the oven a little bit and see if it will dry up by morning time.
That's oh my god. You
The
can you
truth,
it's true. Can
the
you ever
truth.
be serious? Yeah, can you be serious for 2 seconds? You're getting me, and then all of a sudden you.
But
But I see the story. I see what you're
they gotta
saying.
understand that if I was able, but we're not all the same. Where I am going, a lot of them, or majority of them, 80 or 90%, is not going, right? I understand what I'm called to be or called to do, um, right? And I have a lot to accomplish, and I still have more to accomplish within my lifespan.
Mhm.
So I rid myself of the things that's going to hold me back and for me to step forward,
I like that.
right?
Mhm.
So, and that's what growth is about.
Read the things that yes, I like that. So, Sefton, I love you even more tonight. Like seriously, you're such an inspiration. To so many people. I'm not even talking about male. We're talking about everyone, male, female, no matter what age group you
Yeah,
are. Because no matter what age group you are, you still can start now. But you have to make the decision to
yeah.
start now. And align yourself with people that can help. And there's so many people out there that will help. But if you
Have
don't
the oh
ask,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely,
But if you don't ask,
absolutely,
you won't know.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
Speak of your pain.
yeah, we have to
Speak of your pain.
speak about it.
Speak
Sefton.
of your pain.
So to end this, speak of your pain. Sefton, thank you so much for joining me tonight from the humble beginning of Sefton Spence. Thank you, Sefton. For those who are joining us or seeing this video, this is Donna Savage with Talks with Savage Desires. I have Sefton Spence with me tonight. He's the owner of Cubby Construction, one of the leading construction, renovation construction person in whole of North America. He's doing beautiful things. So we're going to have a part two in another week or so. But I wanted to showcase people that no matter what age you are and where you're going, and if you're not satisfied with where you are, just get up, face it, and go forward. This is Donna Sav with Talk with Sav Desires. Have a great night.